Hey there, Aiden, it's Mrs. Rubery. This is a video especially for you to help you out with figuring out surface area of rectangular prisms. So the number one key thing is having this formula up here that I highlighted with green, the 2 times LW plus 2 times LH plus 2 times WH. So that formula is going to help you figure out the surface area of any rectangular prism. So a couple explanations of why this formula works. So as you see, there's only 3 parts to the formula, but a rectangular prism has 6 sides. Well, the 6 sides, every one of the sides has one that matches. So for example, if I look at number 1, the top of this rectangular prism also has a bottom that we can't see. It would be down there, right? So that's why we do 2 times the length and width of one of the sides. Then, the next part of the formula, I have another 2 times the length and a height. A side of a rectangular prism always has another side here, I did it in red, that you just can't see. So we find that the area of one side and multiply it by 2 because every side has a matching side on the other one. And then the last part of it has a multiply by 2 because every front of a rectangular prism has a matching back. It would be back there. So that's why the formula works. That part you really don't have to know, but it does help a little bit for where the formula came from. Now, the next thing that students get confused about is what is the length, the width, and the height of a rectangular prism. Well, it actually doesn't matter which ones you call a length, a width, and a height. So take a box that comes from Amazon, right, that gets delivered to you. It depends on how they place it down by your front door. Are they going to put it down with the biggest side down, the smallest side down? Are they going to put it up and down, sideways? So it's all a matter of perspective, what the length, the width, and the height is. Here in class, I used our tissue boxes. Normally, a tissue box in school is sitting on the bottom, right, with the tissues coming out the top. But sometimes you'll see them in a doctor's office where they're hanging on the wall. The perspective changes, the length, the width, and the height. So it doesn't matter which numbers you use for the length, the width, and the height, just as long as you're consistent when you use the formula. So let me give you an example. Look at number 1 here. I have 3 numbers. You're going to label them with a L, a W, and H. Doesn't even matter which one's which. So I might call this the length, this the width, and this the height. It doesn't matter what you call them. You're going to come out with the same answer. So the first thing you're going to do is give every one of your 3 numbers a letter, a length, a width, or a height. Copy down your formula. Surface area equals 2 LW, and it's at the top of the screen. I'm just zoomed in. 2 LH plus 2 WH. So I copy down my formula. Now I'm going to replace the formula or replace the variables in the formula with its values. So every time I see an L, I'm going to put in a 12. So there's an L there and an L there. Use a different highlighter. Every time I see a W, I'm going to put in a 7. So there's a W here and a W there. Those colors are kind of close. And every time I see a H, I'm going to put in a 4. So a 4 here and a 4 here. So I'm going to replace my variables with their values. So 2, remember that a number next to a variable means multiply, times L was 12, and W in our case is 7. Plus, now let's go to the next part of our formula. 2 times L is 12 and H is 4. And let's go to the last part. 2 times W is 7 and H is 4. So I fill in my formula, so I substitute, and now I can find the answers to each of these. And as a shortcut, you can just multiply all 3 of these, multiply those 3, and multiply those 3, and then add them all together. So let me pull out my calculator. So 2 times 12 times 7 2 times 12 times 7 gives me a product of 168. The next part, 2 times 12 times 4 is 96. And the last part, 2 times 7 times 4 is 56. And then I add all those together. 168 plus 96 plus 56 gives me 320. This is inches squared because it's surface area. Okay. Now, I would have gotten the same exact answer if I called 4 the width, 7 the length, and 12 the height, but made sure I replaced each of the letters with the number I chose to associate it with. So let me give you an example on this next one. So maybe on number 2, I'm going to use 15. Let's call that the width. Let's call 20 the height, and let's call 13 the length. So I just picked any letter as long as I have one of each. Copy down my formula, 2LW, 2LH, 2WH, and substitute in what I have. So anytime I see a W, I'm going to put a 15. So these are going to be 15s. Anytime I see an H, I'm going to put a 20. So here and here. And then anytime I see an L, I'm going to put in a 13 here and here. And now I'm going to just substitute in. So I had a 2 times my L, which is 13, times my W, which is 15. So I got my first part done. Now I'm going to the second part. 2 times L is 13, times H is 20. And I'm getting it all from up here. And the last part, 2 times W is 15, and H is 20. So I have my 3 parts. I can multiply those together to get my 3 products. And you can use your calculator. 2 times 13 times 15 is 390. 2 times 13 times 20 is 520. And then finally 2 times 15 times 20 is 50. Nope, I got that wrong. 2 times 15 times 20 is 600. Knew something was off. There we go. And I'll add those all together. 390 plus 520 plus 600 gives me 1,510. And this one was measured in yards, and I want to put squared. And I can shrink that down. Okay, so hopefully this helps you out with finding surface area of rectangular prisms.